Thank you so much. This conference is amazing. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm super excited about all the content that has been shared with us today. We're also very excited to be honored as a Killer Content Award winner. But before I go into my whole spiel, I wanted to ask you all a couple questions, make sure we're awake after lunch. How many of you have heard about Glassdoor? No judgment. Awesome. How many of you have heard the term employer branding? Anyone? Okay, good amount. So employer branding is a term that started in the 90s, and it's now widely accepted by our audience, which is, we do B2B marketing, so our audience is employers who do recruiting and talent acquisition at their companies, and an employer brand is how they market themselves to potential employees. And we all know marketing is so important for your products. It's also really important for those candidates that you're trying to reach who are going to be developing those products. So that's what we do at Glassdoor, and we partner with employers to help them with this employer brand. And this is where the idea came about. As I did my research, I didn't see anything on employer branding, and I thought, what better asset to use than a Dummies book? I don't know about the rest of you, but I have Dummies books on just about everything. I have wine for Dummies. I got my mom Facebook for Dummies because I don't have time to show her how to use it, but I love Dummies guides, and they really simplify topics that might apply to your own audience. So we thought that this was a good platform to use as a campaign. And the goals that we had when going into it were really to simplify this topic for HR and recruiters. Recruiters are pretty new to employer branding. It's, like I said, it's a pretty new term, and they're putting on a marketing hat. Some of you guys might be called in to your recruiters asking for advice. So we really wanted to simplify it and have a how-to guide. We also wanted a great handout for trade shows. And let me tell you, this thing at trade shows goes like hotcakes. People love it. And what better way to give them a book to read on the plane as they're going home? We also wanted the book to provide best practices for employers, leverage it on webinars. We wanted this content to be utilized every which way that we could. Increase our social shares. I don't think you can be too social these days. Everybody's on one platform doing something. It's hard to keep up with, so making sure that it gets out on every single platform was important to us. And we also wanted to solidify Glassdoor as the topic expert in this category because we really feel that you can't develop that employer brand without listening to employees, hearing what they have to say, and involving them in that process, which is really, as a consumer, you might know Glassdoor because we have all the reviews from employees and salary information and interview data that we train recruiters on how to look at. Campaign development. So writing the outline. I don't know about the rest of you, but this is one of the longest processes for me. It's even longer for a Dummies book because the process is very similar to their 350-page books. So each chapter, the way Dummies works is they want the reader to be able to flip to Chapter 4, Engaging Your Employees, and be able to get everything they want to know about that topic from that chapter. So it's really, if you think about it, it's like putting 8 ebooks into one book and tackling all of that. So as I wrote the outline, and Dummies books are also very visual. So as I wrote the outline, I pulled in charts, case studies, any visual that I could utilize in the book, testimonials, steps. So the outline was pretty tedious, but it made the draft a little bit easier. Like I said, this is like tackling 8 ebooks, all of which are in Word docs, and each chapter was a separate Word doc. So you can imagine how my review process was. So the draft, it took a while, but the great thing about Wiley & Sons is they are a partner every step of the way, and you have an editor over there helping you with the dummy style, and it really was a great process. We had 4 review rounds, 3 in Word docs, those are when you can make the most changes, and 1 when it was in a PDF, and that's when you kind of got to button up and not make too many changes. And then we crossed our fingers and hoped for no typos and hit publish for one of our biggest trade shows. And I can't even tell you how many times I've had to reorder the books. Our reps in the UK love it, so it's really been a great success. And we had copies for everybody, and we keep ordering them. Some of the components that we used that I think are important to talk about is we wanted to have a forward by a thought leader, and I've heard a lot of this today, that partnering up with a thought leader can be really helpful as you develop content, because you can kind of get inside your head at your own company but we have this product and know that it applies to this, but having a thought leader really look at it from a high level and say, hey, I think you missed this aspect, or you could incorporate this, was really, really helpful. Not only that, thought leaders typically have big social following, so he also was a true partner in promoting the book and getting it out for us. He also did a video for us, which was super cool. We put that on all of our landing pages. I think it was about a minute or so, but just talking about the topic and why this book was important. We ran webinars on the book because this simplified the topic. It was really easy to splice up into webinar format. We did emails, both internal and to external lists, so to our own database and also other databases with our audience. Blog posts, you can never do enough blog posts, I think, and since this is like 7 ebooks, you could do as many blog posts as you want on each individual topic. I also did external blog posts. Anytime anybody asked me to write about the book, I was always happy to do a blog post on it. And Wiley & Sons was so excited to cover this topic because this topic had actually never been covered by Dummies, which I thought was crazy. I'm like, you've never done employer branding for Dummies? So nobody had ever done it, that they actually did a joint press release. And then social, like I said, I don't think you can do too much social, both organic and sponsored. And I can't forget the Dummies Man costume. So they actually rent out the Dummies Man costume. You can nominate a lucky sales rep to wear this at a trade show. And our trade show was superhero themed, so it tied in really nicely. Dummies Man became like one of our superheroes at the show. And bless the rep that wore that. It was hot. I think the show was in Florida. Results from this whole campaign, it was our top performing Glassdoor ebook out of 15 ebooks in 2014, which was massive. It's also our top performing ebook already in 2015, which is also great. And it contributed 27% of all content leads, 28% of all pipeline from content, and 48% of all closed revenues out of 15 ebooks. So huge success for us. The webinar also closed 2 deals almost immediately and had 7 more in the pipeline. Key takeaways and lessons learned, which I'm sure everybody wants to know from all of our campaigns, what worked, what didn't. So these are mine. Give yourself more than 12 weeks. Once we decided to do this, we had 12 weeks to get it done. And like I said, this is 8 ebooks. It's a lot of content, and we really wanted to get it right. And a lot of people were involved running those review rounds, so it was tedious. Give yourself more than 12 weeks if you can. I know that sounds like a lot to some people, but with all the back and forth, if you can do it, do it. Provide plenty of time for review rounds. Like I said, there were, I think, 8 PDF documents. By the end, I finally had to be like, can you put them all together for me? Because this is getting to be a lot. So provide plenty of time for those review rounds, and you also probably want to run those by as many people as possible. So if you can give yourself time, do it. And then get sign off on the outline by all stakeholders before drafting the book. I think this is important because as you get later in the review cycles, I kept being like, oh, I didn't run it by so-and-so. Maybe I should run it by him or her. Get sign off by everyone you think that could possibly be involved going into it. That, I'm going to apply that actually for a lot of other things that I do this year. And train sales to speak and share the asset and keep it easy. I know we have some sales reps in the room and they're awesome, but they're so busy. So if you can draft tweets for them, if you can draft how to share on LinkedIn, how to share on Twitter, Facebook, however you want it, just keep it simple and train them on the high level, like this is how you should talk about the book. And then pick a launch date for everything to go live. I know I covered a ton of components, but pick a date and have, assign whoever you need to do what, and have a day that you turn that volume up and turn everything live. And I think that's it. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the conference. And if you want to find me on a break or anything, or if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.